It's 3 p.m. now, Cairo local time. It's a very good afternoon to our viewers and welcome to the afternoon's English News Bulletin. My name is Angie Meher, delighted to be in the company of my dear colleague, Shireen Adel. Good afternoon to you, Shireen.
Good afternoon, Angie. Good afternoon, dear viewers. And we start with a look at the major headlines. President Fattah al-Sisi meets Saudi Minister of Culture, Prince Badr bin Abdullah bin Farhan. EU to reopen embassy in Damascus following talks with Syria's new leadership. And Israeli occupation airstrikes kill 14 Palestinians in Gaza.
Welcome back. Now the details in full. President Fattah al-Sisi received on Tuesday the Saudi Minister of Culture, Prince Badr bin Abdullah bin Farhan. Presidential spokesperson said that President al-Sisi hailed the Egyptian-Saudi historical ties and praised the current joint cooperation, especially in the cultural field. During the meeting, President al-Sisi said that the Saudi kingdom is witnessing a great development in the fields of culture, arts and tourism. President also expressed Egypt's readiness to hold more projects with Saudi Arabia in the fields of culture, arts and heritage protection.
And the European Union is to reopen its mission in Damascus following constructive talks with Syria's new leadership. EU top diplomat Kaja Kallas said Tuesday that they are ready to reopen their delegation, which is the European Embassy, and they want this to be fully operational again. This came as a French delegation arrived Tuesday at the country's embassy in Damascus with Special Envoy Jean-Francois saying his country was preparing to stand with Syrians during the transitional period. The French flag raised in the embassy's entrance hall for the first time since the mission was shuttered in 2012.
The Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni said Tuesday her country was ready to engage with Syria's new leadership but urged maximum caution. She added that Italy is ready to engage with the new Syrian leadership, obviously in the context of assessments and actions shared with European and international partners. Italy earlier this summer reopened its embassy in Damascus, becoming the first group of 7 nations to do so.
Syrian Kurdish forces said U.S. brokered mediation efforts failed to reach a permanent ceasefire with the armed factions in the northern cities of Manbij and Kobani, according to head of the SDF's media center. Farhad Shami blamed the collapse of the mediation on Turkey's approach in dealing with the mediation efforts and its evasion to accept key points.
Israeli occupation military strikes across the Gaza Strip killed at least 14 Palestinians on Tuesday, 10 of them in one house, as tanks pushed deeper towards the western area of Rafah in the south. Medics said the Israeli occupation airstrike on the house in the Darar suburb of Gaza City destroyed the building and damaged nearby homes. 4 other people were killed in 2 separate airstrikes in the city, in the town of Beit Lahia, north of the enclave.
And Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, said on Tuesday that his country's occupation forces would be free to act in Gaza Strip even after its war with Hamas ends. Katz said the question of Gaza's post-war governance has remained unresolved, more than a year since Israel occupation vowed to crush Hamas in retaliation for its October 7, 2023 attack.
The head of Russian Army Chemical Weapons Division was killed on Tuesday in a brazen attack on Moscow, claimed by Kiev, the most senior military figure assassinated in Russia yet, as the Kremlin's campaign in Ukraine drags on. Igor Kirillov was killed along with his assistant with an explosive device attached to a scooter went off outside an apartment building in northeastern Moscow. Attack took place in a residential area in the capital a day after President Vladimir Putin boasted of Russian troops' successes in Ukraine, nearly 3 years after the Kremlin sent soldiers into the pro-Western neighbor.
And Donald Trump said he would speak to Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky and Russia's Vladimir Putin to end the carnage of almost 3 years of war as the Kremlin leader loaded Russian army successes on the ground. The two sides have rushed to gain an advantage on the battlefield ahead of Trump entering the White House in January. And there has been some that Joe Biden's administration provided to Kiev to battle Moscow's invasion. Trump has repeatedly claimed that he could swiftly end the conflict, but has not provided concrete details on how. His comments came after he called for an immediate ceasefire earlier this month and said negotiations should begin.
To China's foreign minister that said that Beijing and Washington can achieve many great things if they work together ahead of next month's inauguration of President-elect Donald Trump. But the top diplomat Wang Yi also warned against what he called the U.S. crude interference on the issue of Taiwan. The world's two largest economies have butted heads on a range of issues in recent years, from trade and technology to human rights and China's growing assertiveness towards the self-ruled island of Taiwan.
And the South Korean authorities made a new attempt on Tuesday to search the presidential office and obtain evidence as part of a probe into the legality of President Yoon Suk Yeol's short-lived bid to impose martial law. Yoon was impeached on Saturday over his martial law decree and suspended from his presidential duties. A joint investigation team included the police and the Corruption Investigation Office for high-ranking officials was trying to access computer servers of the Presidential Office's security service to get records of phones, including one used by the police commissioner.
Now moving to some business news, the 11th G8 Summit is being held in Cairo from December 17th till the 19th. It is a significant event bringing together leaders from the G8 Organization for Economic Cooperation amongst major developing countries. Egypt is taking significant steps to empower small and medium-sized enterprises and foster youth innovation as part of its broader strategy to derive economic growth and sustainable development. Summit's theme, Investing in Youth and Supporting SMEs, Shaping Tomorrow's Economy, underscores the organization's commitment to fostering economic growth through youth engagement and development of small and medium-sized enterprises.
Minister of Planning and Economic Development Dr. Rania Al-Mashad said that the Egyptian-Japanese partnership enhanced last year, especially in the field of developmental cooperation. The minister remarks came during her participation in Japan in celebrations commemorating 70 years of development cooperation between Egypt and Japan. The minister said the milestone reflects deep and enduring partnership between the two nations, which has significantly contributed to Egypt's sustainable development agenda and mutual economic growth.
European shares fell to two-week lows Tuesday, led by energy and healthcare stocks as investors awaited a slew of major central bank decisions late in the week. Pan-European Stock 600 index slipped 0.4%, trading at its lowest since December the 2nd. Oil and gas stocks dropped 1.2% as crude prices nudged lower after China's economic data renewed demand concerns. Pharma stocks fell 1.1% and Asian stocks wobbled, whilst the dollar held firm Tuesday as traders braced for a slate of central bank meetings this week that is likely to see the U.S. Federal Reserve deliver a rate cut and the Bank of Japan stand pat for now.
The Confederation of African Football awarded its 2024 Outstanding Achievement Award to President Fattah el-Sisi for his significant contributions to the development of football in Egypt and across Africa. The award was received on behalf of President el-Sisi by Minister of Youth and Sports Ashraf Subhi during the annual CAF Award ceremony in Marrakesh. In his speech, the Sports Minister expressed deep honor in receiving the award and highlighted President el-Sisi's unwavering commitment to advancing African football through state-of-the-art facilities and infrastructure which have fueled the growth of the sports on the continent. CAF praised President el-Sisi's leadership in making Egypt the hub for football excellence, underlining its efforts to bolster sports as a catalyst for unity and development.
Finally, during the CAF Awards 2024 ceremony held at the Palais de Congrès in Marrakesh, Al Ahly Club was crowned Club of the Year. The Reds Club clinched the CAF Champions League title for the 12th time in its history, following a final victory against Esperance de Tunis. Notably, this marks the second consecutive year that Al Ahly has secured this prestigious title, reframing their dominance in African football. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we wrap up our news bulletin here. You were in the company of myself, Angie Meher, and Shireen Aidid. Thank you very much, Shireen.
Thank you, Angie, and thank you, viewers.